Okay, so in this short video now I'm just going to take a walk through the woods and just speak about Permaculture Zone 5 a bit. So, starting off in my garden here. There it is up the steps. And then, through this gate now, we have my Zone 5. And so Zone 5 in permaculture terms is the part that is, just want to get down this hill, the part that is left to nature, to its own devices. And so with the other zones, 1 to 4, we create them as edible spaces that create useful yields for people and also are fuel and fibre and timber and different things like that. But then with the Zone 5, that's the space that is just purely to nature's own devices. So this woodland here continues all the way up that way, and then also the way that I'm going to go today, along here. And so Zone 5 is often a kind of overlooked zone, but it's a really important part of permaculture design. If you look back to the Permaculture Designer's Manual by Bill Mollison, it actually looks like a large part of permaculture should actually be the focus on leaving space for nature. So one of the main focuses of permaculture design is to reduce the human footprint on the earth to the absolute kind of minimum, really, so that then we can leave plenty of space available for nature. And then the value of Zone 5 isn't measured at all by, what us humans can get out of it, which is how we can measure the other zones. Zone 5 is purely really the biodiversity and just the life that is sustained in that area. It's not to say that we can't get anything useful. It's not to say that we can't get anything useful from Zone 5, because if there are abundant resources, as food plants, then we can be foraging or hunting, but only to the bare minimum, really. We need to remember that the real focus is on allowing nature to take its course. So we only take a sustainable yield from the site. And so, a useful kind of pointer on sustainable yield, I'll just show you this fallen tree here now. I just need to jump over the stream, it's a bit of a drop, hope I don't fall. There we go. So this fallen tree, at one point, was really abundant with oyster mushrooms. Every time it rained, it would show loads and loads of oyster mushrooms going through summer, and it was really great. Last year I got lots of meals from it, but unfortunately whoever else has been taking oyster mushrooms from this tree, they've been stripping the bark off while they do it, and the problem with that is that the oyster mushrooms, you can see some of them here on this one small patch of bark that's remaining, these little dried up dead bits here, they grow through the cracks between the bark, and so if you're pulling the bark off and leaving big patches of it on the ground like they have here, pull the bark off, then there's no way that the oyster mushrooms can grow through anymore. And that's a real shame, because if they would have just harvested it well and cut the mushrooms off with a knife or something rather than just pulling everything off all at once, then that could be a really useful resources for a few years to come. But now it's pretty much sterile, not really much going on with it. So you need to be kind of sure, really, if you're going foraging and things, that you are paying attention to what you're doing. You are using good techniques, then you're not just damaging the very resource that you're harvesting. kind of navigating through all the bush at the moment to find somewhere to get back across the stream. So I've explored this woodland for the last 10 years at least, since I was about 10 years old, and it's a really great place. I mean, if anyone's watching from America, then you know they've probably got the national parks and things that are just going to absolutely dwarf this site and probably make it look completely inconsequential. But you know, it's what I have, and it's just through the back garden as well, so can't really complain. It's got lots of bluebells, as you can see, and it was actually in the Daily Mail newspaper last year as one of the best places to see bluebells in the UK, which is some claim to fame for a woodland. Right, I'm just going to stomp through the water here, probably fill my shoes. Oh, be alright. So yeah, lots of bluebells, lots of mixed woodlands. It's a semi-ancient woodland and it's fairly diverse. It's owned by the Woodland Trust and it's managed by the Woodland Trust and the British Trust of Conservation Volunteers, from what I've observed. I've tried to get in touch with them to offer to help out, but no one's actually got back to me about that. So we've got a nice winding stream flowing through. So zone 5 now, it's just really to be enjoyed. Excuse me. Walk around, observe nature. Zone 5 is a really good spot to the observe and interact principle of permaculture. Just watching, looking, seeing what the animals are doing, seeing what's growing where, checking out the different habitats, the different spaces, who's flying around up above, what's crawling around on the ground. It's really squelchy muddy here, it's been raining quite a bit the last few days. So yeah, ideally if we do permaculture well, and if society as a whole can make, or at least sections of society can make a good transition towards this more sustainable way of life, then we should be able to have lots more spaces like this. And as I mentioned before, the value of it isn't just what it can do for humans, not at all. I mean, unfortunately how a lot of people view the value of woodlands is, or at least a lot of corporations and loggers and things, they just see the value of the timber within the woodland. However, if you learn a little bit about ecology and about world systems and things, the true value of nature, and of woodlands particularly, is vast. I've written an article about it on the website at appletonpermaculture.com, shameless plug there. But essentially, nature does loads. Natural capital is a massive asset to us. It cleans water for us. Something just happened with the camera there, and essentially it just fills many different functions, more of which I expand on the website. But when people have actually put their heads together and tried to work out the kind of monetary value of nature, it comes out to about $50 trillion a year globally. $50 trillion. At the time that study was done in the 1990s, the actual global GDP, so everything that the human economy does, was only about $30 trillion. So we're looking at, you know, nature essentially is more powerful than the human economy. Yet how many people recognise that? You often hear the argument on my memory cards, I just had to delete some things, I've got 2 minutes left. So you often hear the arguments against environmentalists that, yeah, okay, so environmental things would be nice, but you know, we need to focus on the economy. Yeah, you know, it's too expensive to protect nature, protect the environment. We need to focus on growing the economy. But then, you know, we're actually destroying nature to try and grow an economy that just is kind of pretty much dwarfed by the actual value of nature. So really, when you look at it, that argument doesn't really stack up. And that's only the financial value of nature as well. You know, if we think of nature as having some value in and of itself, I mean, when you go for a walk in the woods, how can you put a value on that? So if you look at it in that way and having some inherent value, then it's just going to absolutely dwarf the human economy altogether into real insignificance. And so just to kind of sum up, with permaculture we're aiming to be able to have as much Zone 5 as possible, and by good design of our other zones, by meeting our needs in creative and ecologically friendly ways, mimicking the ways of nature, then we will be able to have lots and lots of Zone 5, lots and lots of nature, just for the pure joy and inherent value that nature gives us. So, thanks for watching, and if you want to find out more about the value of nature in different permaculture projects, then check out my website, appletonpermaculture.com. The link will be in the bar below. Thank you.